Dude, this thing comes with like a, you know those guitar straps?
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I got a guitar strap. I'm about to play this drawing pad like a guitar. I'll hook it up and I'll put it on Discord. Let me start Raft as well real quick. That way it's not just waiting for 5 years.
Yeah, mine's
But dude,
pretty
I'm gonna
loose.
put this on and I'm just gonna. Wait, is this a mask? No, what is this? Yo, what the? Oh, it's a glove.
What is it?
Dude, okay, I gotta show you this. It is like weird. I was trying to put it on my left hand because you know, ambidextrous and all that. But like it's a dude. This is the weirdest. Well, I gotta show you this. Am I wearing it? Oh, I think I'm supposed to wear it on my pinky and. Oh, wait. Huh? I'm sorry. I'm not intelligent enough to know about art. So, let me. I think I'm wearing this right. It's one of those gloves that only covers 2 of your fingers, but it covers your pinky finger and your ring finger.
Oh my gosh, is that one of the art gloves?
I think so. I'm wearing it right now. Honestly, it's not uncomfortable. I prefer
No,
like
they're not uncomfortable. I just didn't know you
I
were
prefer.
into art.
I'm not.
Well, what's the nice thing is what it's supposed to do is when you are like on the iPad and you're like drawing or whatever you're using, the tablet, what happens is that those 2 fingers are most often the fingers that are on the iPad itself. So it makes it where those don't actually affect, like, you literally when you touch it, it does nothing. It kind of like negates the touching feature, so that way when you're drawing you don't accidentally like create a whole bunch of random lines and you have to like erase them and stuff. It just like it basically just makes it where those things, your fingers aren't pressing on it, so like when you're drawing you can get really really intricate with it.
I gotcha. The world's up, by the way, so you're good to join. Dude,
Okay.
what on earth? I'm just looking through this. I'm like, what is this? I am. Look, I'm about as art illiterate as it gets. Not. Oh, I think this hooks it up to my computer. Hold on. Wait a minute. I'm about to show off my artistic inabilities. Quickly, just
Your autistic
unravel this wave
handicap.
join. Yeah, my artist.
I'm gonna go play D&D today, and
Ooh.
everyone's like, oh, I made this character. Oh, I made that character, and I'm like,
Oh, you cut out.
nah. I'll send you a picture of what I.
Did you say it again?
What's up? Can you hear me?
Dude, this thing always got one plug.
So I'm a dwarf, and I just sent you a picture. This is literally what
Where do
I.
I plug you? You still there?
Yeah. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Oh, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
You're cutting out.
Let's see. Can you hear me? Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I love that drawing.
I know. So that was that was one I had, just because everyone's like, "Oh my goodness, I drew like a giant spider. Oh my goodness, I drew a whatever character," and I'm like, I got my inspiration from one of the Facebook videos I watched, and so I was like, "Yeah, that's it."
I drew Homer Simpson.
Essentially, essentially. Okay, it keeps saying connection keeps canceling. I do not.
Yeah, it's. I think it's because you're. How do I put this kindly? Your internet was being garbo for a minute.
Yeah, I pay for Cox and it doesn't. Uh, I don't know.
I pay for it, but it doesn't work.
Yeah, essentially, you either pay for Cox or you pay for. Um,
Direct TV.
no, it's. Well, actually, there's no Direct TV here. Like,
Not
what's
anymore.
no in Arizona? It kind of like. I mean, you could possibly get it, but it basically doesn't exist because everyone has Cox internet. They're basically a
Huh.
monopoly out here where like they're the only ones.
Sorry, you'll have to forgive my advanced maturity at the naming.
Oh no, you're fine. So I thought on today's stream we could talk a little bit about well, since you sent me that photo, season 2 of Invincible is coming out, which is preferably
Yes.
my show of choice compared to the Rings of Power. Um,
Dude, the shark is in the raft, but yes, I definitely agree. From what I heard, I've had several people watch it, and I'm probably gonna go and watch it over the weekend.
Rings of Power.
Yeah, just because I've heard that it's not actually particularly political. It's actually just more fantasy than anything, and actually avoids all the political stuff. Well, it mostly avoids the political stuff from what I've been told, which sounds a lot more enjoyable to me. Oh, sorry, I gotta blow my nose.
Oh, no problem.
Oh, I'm back.
I mean, like I couldn't say for sure, but yeah, I mean,
If it was just overplayed to make drama, that's a little disappointing.
it,
But at the same, like, because why would you do that? But on the
it's
other hand, it makes it so I think, you know what, that sounds more enjoyable, and so I'm not really gonna complain about it.
it's probably more enjoyable than like She-Hulk, for example,
Oh, Lord.
maybe. But I've watched some scenes of She-Hulk. I've seen some things of Rings of Power, and it just kind of seems to me that Galadriel's like, you, as the critical drinker put it, she's like, I'm a woman that not only don't need no man, but I am the smartest one of you all. You dumb, you know?
Well,
Oh my, it goes on and on about her like apparently knowing that Sauron actually exists and every king is like, "No, he doesn't exist. We killed him in Morgoth or whatever his leader's name is." And everyone's like, "No, that can't be true. He can't be alive." And she's like, "No, it is true. And I'm the only one who knows it because all of you are bigots." That's essentially what I got from it.
I gotcha. But yeah, no, I honestly, I've heard that it's not bad, so I'll probably go give it a watch.
I'll probably go try and give it a watch. More in depth, I guess I should say, because I did give it a little
See,
bit, but oh dang, there's a raft. But it's already passed us by. Maybe a little
eh,
too late.
we don't need no raft.
We don't need to steal that scrap metal. Screw that.
Yeah, it's crap is for losers.
So season when does season 2 of Invincible actually come out? Did you say?
It they did not say.
But it wraps recording.
Yeah, they wrapped up recording. I don't know when it will be done, but I'm hoping soon. I watched it when it came out, so I've been waiting a little while.
Release date just wrapped.
When did
Fall.
Invincible come out?
It
That's been a
says
while.
it will likely be available streaming fall 2023.
Oh Lord, I have to wait for both One Punch and that for 2023.
Hey, at least they're taking their time instead of churning out stuff like Disney does. I'd
What's
prefer it take like 3 or 4 years for one season of a show to be made than 1 year for a show to be
That's
made.
true, and I guess it'll only have been like 2.5 years. Like I've been spoiled with The Boys, where it's been coming out like every year.
And I mean, from that you're kind of like, okay, the first season is like the pinnacle of it. It's like the getting you into it is literally what defines the show. Second season's kind
Oh,
of like, it's okay, it's enjoyable to watch, but maybe not what I expected. And then the third season, you're just like, oh my gosh, oh yeah,
dude, I do not want season 2 of Invincible to be like season 2 of The Boys. I want season 2 of Invincible to be just as good as season 1.
that's what I hope too.
Dude, I loved The Boys so much. Like it was such a breath of fresh air, and then to have Invincible come out shortly after, well, not shortly, but to have Invincible come out after, it
Yeah.
was like I was excited to watch shows again. Like you knew what I was doing. I was like avoiding TV and movies because I did not enjoy them. Like it was just boring to me. It's like, oh yay, I'm gonna hear a political message and that's it. And comedy died, so there's not much humor.
Yeah.
Yeah, what am I gonna do? I mean, don't get me wrong. There's definitely still comedians out there who make good stuff, but it's like
Have you
it, it gets so drowned out with politics. It's like, please, let me enjoy this.
there's one comedian that I will say is not political whatsoever. He's the funniest comedian in my mind, and his name is Gabriel Iglesias.
Yes, you've
If
told
you
me.
haven't heard, oh my gosh, that dude's a freaking legend when it comes to comedy. Like, sure, you can get what's his name? Isn't Bill Hur a comedian?
I don't know.
I think he is because I saw him on an episode of what's it called? You know the show
Family
the
Guy.
channel's called First We Feast, but it's called Hot Ones where they eat the hot wings and they ask them
Yes,
questions about it.
the only reason I know of that channel is because well, do you know Filthy Frank?
No, I don't.
Oh my gosh, I gotta show you Filthy Frank later.
Do nice.
Filthy
Please do.
Frank is yeah, I'll tell you about it later. That's one of those non-family friendly things that I'll have to tell you about when you're a bit older.
Should we go ahead and loot this island?
Yeah, why not? I
I feel
got
like
you a
there's
present, by
something
the
new.
way, and it's not a it's not a Christmas present.
Ooh, present.
Called Schmeat.
Schmeat. Ooh.
Schmeat. Some Schwatter as well.
Oh my gosh, that was the best on Big Munson Island. Schwatter.
Schwatter. Here, take your Schmeat. Take
Oh,
your
thank
Schmeat out
you.
of my hand.
Barbecue. I love barbecue.
Now, I got a question. So, we're picking this up with a clay bowl. I guess it is clay. I was looking at it. I thought it was plastic for a minute. Holy, okay, that's a little bit of food.
What are we
I
picking up
was
with?
say again?
I was just saying, what did you say about clay bowls?
I was looking at the plate that it was on, and I was gonna say it doesn't really look like a bowl to me. And then when I gave it a closer look, it looked a little more clay.
A little bit, not too
A
much though.
little bit.
You put the lime in the coconut,
Cook.
drink it all up. Okay, so uh, I mean, like, let's even just talk about the first episode for a little bit. So, like, Invincible starts out with like, oh, the
You're
basically the
talking.
oh, can you hear me still?
Yeah, I can hear you. I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
It starts out with
it's
like a Justice League, and like you're kind of like, okay, I mean, it's cool. We have Wonder Woman with basically a mace, and then we have
yeah.
Red Rush, which is the Flash, and then you have Omni-Man,
Bat,
which is Superman.
and then you have Batman, who is well, he's Batman.
Yep, pretty much.
I-
He's Batman. I'm Batman.
and then there was Aquaman as well, and then the Green Ghost or
Oh,
whatever
that's
it
true.
was.
Which I thought the Green Ghost was a pretty interesting character. I'm kind of like, dang, they really did her dirty.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
It
how
was,
else was he gonna kill her? They had to do it that way. I mean,
well,
with
yeah,
the with her ability, she's practically invincible.
I know.
Burn, 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 burn. But no, yeah, they had to kill her that way because I can't really imagine another way of killing her. Like he couldn't
Oh
just
no,
go into another dimension or some crap like that. That's reserved for episode 2.
that's true. You're right. You're right. And so he, I mean, like, it starts out really like, okay, to be honest, it starts out so kid friendly. Like, oh my goodness, like his son Mark, Omni-Man's son Mark, really wants to be a superhero. He's like, you'll do it one day because you're Vulcan, I believe he said was the species of his planet, right?
I I'll be honest, I don't remember. I should remember.
I'll say Vulcan just because like that sounds pretty freaking cool. So
Here, I'm gonna hop on the island. I'll look it up.
he's like, we're the Vulcans, we're supposed to, I came from a planet where they wanted us to come and help and whatnot, so I'm here to help. And then, Mark gets his powers and his dad starts helping him. And then all the I don't even know. I'm just gonna call him the Justice League. The
It
Justice
was it
League.
was Viltrum, by the way.
Oh, Viltrum. Okay, that was close enough.
Yeah, close enough.
But
Vulcan, Viltrum.
yeah, but some sweaty, nerd is gonna get pissed at me if I say
That'll
it
be
right.
fine.
So
I'll be
Viltrum.
that sweaty nerd.
So Viltrum, he's like, Mark, one day you'll bear the responsibilities of saving the
Yada
world.
yada
And he's
yada.
like, and gives you the Uncle Ben speech for a second. And then Justice League gets called in.
And
And what
and then
happens
he
then?
just slaughters the lot of them.
Which I think is probably one of the best executed scenes ever.
Dude, when I first saw Invincible, I'll be honest. Like when I showed it to you, I said, "Give it a chance." The first episode is a hook, and I told you ahead of time that it was a hook because I don't think you would have been eager to watch it or to the end otherwise, because it felt like it's a kid's show pretty much. The first episode, you said it yourself. It is a kid's show. The first episode up until the end,
Yep.
and when I first watched it, I was fully under the impression that it was gonna stay a kids show the entire thing. I was like, does it is it just that good of a kids show? That was my first impression of the show, and I almost stopped like what like I stopped. Well, I didn't almost stop. I took like a break. Like I stopped and ended up finishing the first episode the next day,
Uh-huh.
and I had stopped like at the 3/4 mark. So when I came back, like I was like, oh yeah, it's kid friendly, and then it immediately cut to that violence and dude, I just stopped for a minute. I was like, am I watching the same show?
And
Like
who's the first person he takes down? Was it
it's I think it's Batman.
Yeah, I remember that. I know the Green Ghost was the last person.
No, no, no. The last
Or was it?
person was the Immortal, if I remember correctly, the Wolverine guy,
Ah, that's right.
because he kills Batman, throws Batman at the Green Ghost, and she catches his body and goes into shock. Then he kills the Green Ghost, and the reason I remember that part, I don't remember who dies in what order after that. I remember that part very well because after that he uses her body as a shield, and not like when I first saw that, I was like, "Holy brutal! Like
I know.
this is happening."
And just like blood and brains and everything. I mean, the fish one I think was probably the worst. Like as soon as he destroyed that fish guy, basically Aquaman,
Yeah,
oh my gosh. That had the
dude,
most brains out
it
of
was
anyone.
it was just holy crap. Like I. that that really hooked me in. Like it's such a good hook.
And I liked how you explained it when we watched it together. You said, "Here's what it is. It begins out as a kids show, and then you get the murder. You
I
see the
didn't tell you
murder.
anything about that murder, as if I'd spoil that for you.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, like I already kind of knew going in, like this is what it was. But after the first episode, you were like, listen,
It's a murder mystery.
it's a murder mystery, but you know who the murderer is. You know what happened. You just don't know why he did it. And that was the most interesting part. The most intriguing part was, okay, why is Superman committing
Killing
mass
everyone.
murder? Like seriously. I was like, wow, that was great.
I know, like, dude, I do agree. Well, not to like pat myself on the back, but I think that's like the best description of the show you can give it. It's a murder mystery where you know who the murderer is. It's like Clue. You know who did it, and you know with what weapon. You just don't know where or why.
Yep.
I know
Weapon
in
being
Clue
his
there's no
fists
why, but you don't. And
and a body.
yeah, well, in Clue you don't really need to know why or who it was on, but you're missing one of the three major parts. It's who did it and why they did it is missing.
Yep.
It's just so backwards from what you normally would expect, and it's oh my gosh, I've watched that show now like 3 or 4 times with different friends each time, just showing it to them. Like that show is
Yeah.
so good. I can watch that an endless amount of times.
Yeah.
What's I feel that it's going to be hard though to do a season 2 because well, not only because season 1 was so good, but because the show becomes very different after that, from what I remember correctly. Like, don't get me wrong, there's definitely a lot of shocking things that happen that I'm not going to spoil for you, but me and Max have been talking about it
What is
recently
it?
because there are a lot of shocking things, but I'm not going to spoil them for you because I know you haven't read the comics.
Oh no,
I
I
have.
haven't
I
read
haven't either, but I had them spoiled for me. Um, but I was talking with Max about it, and the show changes very drastically, like throughout its run. Like it's not like it stops becoming a superhero show, but there when things happen in Invincible, it's not like oh we're the world's gonna continue as if it hadn't.
it. Hmm.
From I've been able to see, when the world changes, the entire world changes, not just the characters. So it's going to be a very unique show, I think, but it also makes me a bit worried because it's going to be hard to do. I mean, to be fair, they've taken 2 years working on it already, but
Hmm.
it's one of those situations where I want it to be as good as season 1 really badly.
Oh yeah. I mean, even some of the stuff like, and I'm just gonna jump it, like episode 3 where you get to meet like Adam Eve and stuff. Like, it's still entertaining to watch because
Yeah.
like you're learning who these characters are. It's not just, oh, they go on a useless adventure and then we'll get back to the story in the last 2 or 3 episodes. It's like,
Well,
no, it
what
further
I
advances.
what I loved, and I mean absolutely loved about it was it doesn't like that stuff happens for a reason. It's not just filler.
Hmm.
Like you have both that happening as well as the not the side plot. Like it's two main plots running side by side, I'd argue. Like you have the main plot of Invincible learning to become a hero, whether it be like his dad or not.
Hmm.
And on the other side, you have the murder mystery side of it where you have Cecil crap, I forgot his wife. I really should remember the wife's name. Like she is such a good character. You have
Oh,
Cecil.
what's her name?
I don't remember, but she was such a good character. I really should remember. She's a great character.
There's Nolan, Mark, and Debbie.
Debbie, like it's kind of outshone by the relationship between Mark and Nolan,
Well,
but
yeah.
she's such a good character. Her and the Debbie and Cecil learning and trying to figure out why Nolan killed is such a interesting part of the show. But on the other hand, you have Mark learning how to be a hero, and it's all building him up to be like someone you don't want to see die. Like
Uh-huh.
he's being built almost as a lamb for slaughter. I'd argue through the show. Like
Mhm.
you know that he's gonna have to face an Omni-Man at some point. Like I'll be honest. At the start of the show, I knew that it would have to end with him facing Omni-Man
Mhm.
at some point, whether it be in this season or not. I knew it would have to end like that because his dad is announced as a mass murderer at the
Yep.
start of the show, and he sits there and wants to be a good guy, and he's built up so much, and it's so well done. All the while, his dad is doing this other thing, and it's done so perfectly that it makes me worried about season two. Not because I doubt their abilities, but because it's hard to describe the words that you feel. It's almost like you have these expectations, and you don't want them to not be met.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, like, for me, I mean, like when I watched Invincible and I saw like the relationship between Mark and Nolan, I mean, like I wouldn't go so far as to what I'm about to say be like perfectly on point, but like think about it as Darth Vader and Luke, and you like it's like Darth Vader is Luke's father at the beginning. You know that, but
Well,
Mark doesn't know he's the Luke Skywalker. He
I'm
just
gonna
doesn't
put
know.
a little disclaimer with that one. You know it if you've seen the sequel trilogy or the prequel trilogy.
Hmm.
That's it. You know it if you've seen that. If you watched it in like before those came out, no, you did not know it until like episode 5, I think. Yeah, yeah, episode 5.
Yeah, so the second movie, that's when they revealed, oh, Darth Vader's Luke's father, and everyone was like, no way. And people still didn't believe it until Yoda told Luke
Well,
in the sixth episode, and he was like, yeah,
I mean
your
that's
father, he is.
yeah, it's definitely one of the most shocking moments in movie history.
Hmm.
But I make the argument that I kind of liked Invincibles more than that because it's a well, it's hard, you can't really compare them fairly. As Darth Vader's is they're they're clearly enemies, and
Hmm.
to find out that they have this familial relationship is dramatic.
Yeah.
But with Invincible, it's they're allies for most of the show, and only are forced to turn on each other once the big secret comes out.
Yeah, which is pretty interesting.
Which I don't think it's a fair comparison to Star Wars
I mean,
because they're both doing two different things.
I mean, I could understand that, and like very much so, and I'm not giving it like that's why I said it's not exactly a perfect comparison. It's more like a slant rhyme where it's like it's got familiar pieces and it does it correctly with the familiar pieces, but it's not an exact replica because
Yeah.
yeah, it shouldn't be an exact replica because anyone who tries to replicate the first three Star Wars movies, at least regarding the first two, I mean, is not. They're just plagiarizing because
Now,
you cannot do what George Lucas did with that. It's
now,
just not
now,
possible. You have to do something else.
I'm gonna lean in here and be real quiet for a moment. I really like Star Wars 6, and I know that a lot of people don't like it, but I'll be frank, I really don't care.
Well, here's the thing. Like I've told you many a times, that's my
it,
favorite Star Wars movie of all time.
it's definitely not as. I'll be completely. Why isn't the raft moving?
I know. That's
I'll
what
be
I was wondering.
completely to the. Oh, I think the anchor is down. Ignore me. I'll be completely honest. I know that the first two are probably objectively better
Hmm.
than the sixth movie, but I love the sixth movie probably due to a form of bias. But I really just don't care. I will sing praises to that movie along with the prequels for as long as I live.
And and the thing is with Episode 6, like I've told you plenty of times, like if you rank Star Wars for me, that's my top number one. Like that is my favorite Star Wars movie of all time. I love number 6. And sure, people are like, oh, but the teddy bears. I'm like, okay, well, if you get rid of the teddy bears, which are still a pretty interesting part, my
Dude,
whole
I love
point
the
is
teddy bears.
the redemption arc of Darth Vader and the fight between Vader and his son is so heart-wrenching and intense, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is what it should be. That was interesting to me.
I will say, I think I know this is probably not what you'd agree with. I think Invincible did the father versus son fight better.
Oh, I'd agree.
For solely for the reason I think that Darth Vader at that point in time should have been, well, mopping the floor with Luke's face.
That's true.
And so I think the way that Invincible did it, with it not really being a fight of physical feats and more so a fight of wills and words between someone who's, well, for all intensive purposes, at that moment, infinitely more likely to win.
Hmm.
Like, instead of having it be like a physical brawl where they pull some power of friendship bull crap, they instead made it so it was just him trying to appeal to his father. And I know
Yeah.
that the whole idea for Darth Vader's redemption is that he sees himself in Luke and ends up not wanting Luke to suffer the same way he did. I know that that's how it did it, but it kind of didn't really match the way that Luke managed to whoop his butt in the fight. Like, let's be honest, it's Darth Vader here. We,
That's true.
I don't need to say much more. It's Darth Vader. it, it's Darth freaking Vader, man. He's not gonna get his butt whooped by anyone except Luke, but not Luke at that time because, well, he got his butt whooped by the Emperor with just simple Force lightning without any like resistance or anything.
And
Even Mace Windu and Yoda did better.
oh, that's true. I mean, come on. Uh,
And
I'm not.
I know that with Mace Windu, he was. You can make the argument he might have been acting, but let's be honest, it's Mace Windu.
Dude,
Mace
that dude
Windu
don't
kicked his
take
butt
crap.
more.
You
Yeah,
kidding?
it's
Samuel L.
it's
Jackson's
Samuel L.
character is-
Jackson. So first off, it's Samuel L. Jackson. He's gonna whoop his butt either way at some point. But ignoring the fact that it's Samuel L. Jackson, like Sidious, they put up more of a fight than Luke did against Sidious
Yeah.
by like a long shot. Like Luke started failing on the first attack and was about to be executed, beginning with the first attack, and it's like, I know that Vader's weaker than Sidious, but come on, it didn't really match.
Yeah. And I mean, like, I had a feeling like George Lucas explained a lot about like why Darth Vader didn't just flat out kill Luke right there, but was still like fighting against him. It was more like the power dynamic of the light versus the dark. Like, what is Darth Vader going to choose? And he's like, basically, George Lucas was like, well, if you read the book, he essentially is like, I don't know what to choose because this is my master who I have known for like since I was a boy, who raised me up and told me like, oh, I could be a great Jedi, and now I have to choose between him and my family, and my son's being electrocuted, so I better make this decision quick. And
Yeah, I get that. Give me one moment. I gotta run and do something. Sorry to cut you off there.
oh no, you're good.
Sorry, my dog was being a little rambunctious.
Oh, Oreo.
Yeah, Oreo was not happy.
Cute little doggy. Well, big doggy.
Little doggy is little,
Little like
little.
3 feet standing on paws, but 6 feet if she jumps up on you.
Yes, small dog.
Small dog.
Small
But
dog.
but yeah. So I mean, like, going off Invincible again, I mean, like, I thought episode 2 was pretty good, and especially with the Easter egg that I remember you telling me. It was the Flanix episode with all the aliens rushing in and stuff, and
Yes,
like,
I know what's.
oh man,
You're talking about the scene where he says, "Earth isn't yours
yours to
to
conquer.
conquer."
Yep,
I
yep.
That line is one of my favorite lines in a show, game, or movie ever. because it has so much meaning and power behind it that it just puts a smile on my face every time I hear it. Like
It's villainous. Like it's
it
truly like,
really to
oh,
hear what is tried to but to see what the show has made the world well, to see what their world would see as the pinnacle of good and righteousness come in and say something so evil is just well what's not directly evil but what clearly is sinister. There's clearly a sinister intention behind it, and to hear it coming from that man is so concerning that it just oh my gosh
and it
it just
puts you
makes
off.
and it makes you start thinking like
Mm-hmm.
a good show will make if there's a plot twist coming a good show will give you hints that it's coming and Invincible did that but not only did it give you hints it drew your attention to the hints. It didn't just hide them like like a crappy investigation movie. Like it didn't hide 80 hints about every character being maybe a bad guy, and then at the very end say, "Well, these are the only ones that matter. All the others were just red herrings." No, Invincible laid the groundwork very well, and oh my gosh, it just makes him seem it builds him up as a powerhouse as well as someone who may have ulterior motives.
Mm-hmm.
And then it rips the rug out from under you.
And that gut-wrenching moment when you figure out in episode 8 what it was, you're kind of like, oh no.
Like
Oh
that
shoot.
he was really bad. He is
He's
he's a
terrible.
bad guy.
This dude has no redeeming qualities. This dude cannot have a redemption. He is
Well,
beyond saving. Like he is
that's the
evil.
thing. It's while they do make it so that he's truly evil, they don't make it so he doesn't have any they don't say he has no redeeming qualities.
Hmm.
They make it so that he's just evil. He's still a being. Like he's still a not a person per se, as he tries very hard to make it apparent that he is not a person in that episode.
Yeah.
But it builds him up as a god with relations to people still. Like he's during the reason the whole fight takes place is that he does not want to kill Mark. Mark has said that he will not follow his dad. And so his dad can clearly and easily just destroy him. And it's very apparent at the end of the fight where he actually says, "Fine, you want to die?" And he just starts obliterating him.
Yep.
But like
And
the entire start of the fight, like you can see he does not make Mark bleed very much. Like Mark does bleed, like he gets like nosebleeds and stuff like that. But he does not brutalize Mark. He
yes.
holds back quite a bit for the I'd say like for the first half of the fight. Like he holds his emotions back to try and help or as he sees it save his son.
Hmm.
And while he is truly evil in that scene, I think it's very interesting to have someone that evil be doing something that can be considered well not good but I guess what's the word I'm looking for understandable
Yeah.
for him to be showing a level of care for someone he loves in such a horrifying manner is well, not beautiful but amazing that they were able to do that and then to have him start brutalizing him and then to have it end in a way that goes back to the caring about each other thing. I know it's you can make the arguments a little like power of friendship, but it holy crap, dude, the ending of this show is just perfect.
And we'll definitely talk about that because like even if we're not able to get through all episodes, like we have to talk about the ending because I think just
Oh my
the
gosh, the
the def
ending.
it's literally like no, and like when I mean like no redeeming qualities, I mean like at the like throughout the entire show, he shows no remorse. He like literally is just this evil
He's
god
a
that could
force
destroy
of
anyone.
nature.
Exactly. But like by the end, you're right. He does kind of just like, oh, like he actually feels human, and that's what Mark brings him to. And we'll talk
Like
about that.
he's shown as this complete monster, but he's still shown as human the entire, well, not the entire time, because he does completely toss it to the side, I'd say at the halfway mark.
Hmm.
Pun intended with Mark. Um yeah, no. But I think it's amazing how they give him a human motive to do something so horrible, which is just, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, there's not much else you can say with that. It's just holy crap. Like as I'm saying, like all of these things are just so incredible that they managed to pull it off like that, and that's the reason I'm kind of worried for season two. It's they have such big shoes to fill. Like to follow up that is not going to be easy. I don't think that many people could do it.
And I mean, like, you don't have to tell me exactly specifics, but like, with what the rest of the comic contains, can it live up to it? Is my question. Does the comic live up to the reputation of what would be considered like kind of like a quote unquote season one of the comics? Does season two of the comics essentially live up? Is the rest of the
So
story like will it live up to that, or are they gonna have to change a bunch
I
of stuff
will
to live up to it?
I will make the argument that the show did the relationship between Omni Man and Mark a lot better than the comics.
Oh, okay.
Because the Omni Man massacre happens very early in the comics run, but a lot of the other elements, I think like the Flaxens, happen later. Because an 8 episode, like 8 hours of episodes are gonna can't just cover one comic volume,
Yeah.
or I guess chapter. So they kind of mixed and matched it. I think like it definitely is similar to the comics, I'd say, but there's a lot of changes that have happened. So it's kind of unfair to compare it to the comics. Sort of like trying to compare the boys show to the boys comics.
Oh, okay. I mean that I can take that. I was just wondering if you knew there was enough like content that was
There's
interesting.
enough content.
Okay.
There's definitely enough interesting content that happens in the comics, and but honestly, like just nothing in the comics, in my opinion, compared to episodes 1, 7, and 8.
Episode 7 is pretty
Episodes
dope.
episodes 1, 7, and 8 to me are on a completely different level. the, Dude, I know I just keep going in circles praising it, but it's just hard not to do it. I'm gonna stop doing it now because I can't just talk about that
No, you're
for
good. I
the
mean like
rest of my life.
here's the thing. We'll kind of continue down the path, and I mean like with regards to a couple of the episodes, I mean episode episode 3 is kind of just like getting to know Adam, Eve, and a couple of the other. Is that where they do the recruitment of everyone, or is that just where you meet Adam, Eve,
uh,
and Mark has his little study date with the social justice warrior?
I think that I don't remember. It. The last person I watched it with was you, and that was a few months, well, more than a few months ago. Now
Yeah.
it's like 4 now. I don't know, but I believe episode 2 was the
Well, episode 2
episode
is the
2 is the
Flax.
Flaxens,
Yeah, but
which
episode
means
3.
episode 3 was, yeah, episode 3 was episode 3 was when they become the new Guardians of the Globe, and he does the study date where he doesn't really attend the date because he goes to Mount Rushmore.
Oh, that's right, with Adam, Eve, and like defeats
D-
that weird
Dude,
guy.
I love the weird social warrior guy. Dude, he is one of my favorite characters in the show because dude, it's just entertaining. It's fun. And then at the end of the episode, he wakes up, if I remember correctly. And episode 4 is the one where Omni-Man goes pathetic while looking at the new Guardians of the Globe.
Uh-huh.
Oh no, that might have been episode 3. I might be wrong. What was episode 4? I remember I hated episode. There's parts of episode 7 I hate, but it was episode.
It's the title name's Neil Armstrong. Eat your heart out.
Yes, that's the one where they go to Mars, and that's the one with the Martian Man, whatever they're called, the one with the parasite.
Oh, that's right. I completely, totally forgot about that one. That was actually a pretty cool storyline. Like,
Dude,
I like that last little bit.
Yeah, that episode was fun. Episode 5 is the one with the rock dude that he fights in episode 1, where he helps him overthrow Machine Head.
Yeah.
Dude, and then episode 6 is them recovering because they're all, pretty close to death, and it's mostly about Debbie and Cecil. Well, mostly about Debbie, really, finding out Nolan. And then episode 7 was Nolan hunting down Mark, while Mark. Well, how do I put this lightly? I hate Amber because of that episode entirely. Like, I wasn't the biggest fan of Amber for the show, but I didn't really hate her. I mean, I thought she was a bit Mary Sue-ish,
Yeah.
but I really sort of didn't mind her as everyone else was so good. But then episode 7 comes, and I do love episode 7 for the Nolan parts, as well as the part where Mark is confused and finds out. I hate the start of episode 7, or it might be the end of episode 6.
Because Amber.
Where she goes and says, I knew you were invincible. Because that means that she was going and gaslighting my boy and getting mad at him for saving the world instead of attending their dates. Now, don't get me wrong, I definitely think it's a jerk move to be ditching dates.
Oh,
However, if you don't like it that much, and you know that he's doing something as important as saving millions of lives, instead of going there and guilt tripping him and being an absolute just jerk to him, say, I know you are doing this and your secret's fine with me, or something like that. In fact, you don't even have to say that. Just say, I know you're this, and I know you're doing this, but I can't deal with this. I don't want to be put on the sidelines and have to wonder if you're going to actually pay attention or do anything with me. Just be honest. Or you don't even have to be honest, just break up with him if you don't want to do that. Nobody's saying you have to stay there and deal with it. But at the same time, going and emotionally manipulating him like that and making him feel terrible the entire time that he's missing out and mistreating you when you know that he's saving lives is a jerk move, like horribly. And then to have them play it for the entire episode like Mark was the bad guy,
that was kind of a little off-putting to me, just because
don't get me wrong, I'm not saying he was a good guy with how he treated her. He probably should have said I don't think he should have confessed that he was invincible, but I'm saying what he did was reasonable, and then to have her come and be treating him like that the entire time is unreasonable, and then to have everyone in the show act like he was the unreasonable one and like she was reasonable, that really, really made me unhappy. Like, I was like, nah. I'll be honest. After episodes 4 and 5 and 6 being not lackluster, but not nearly as good as episode 1 as I thought. Like, they were all really, really, really good. Like, I loved them. But like, I thought that it was starting to go a bit downhill. And so I was a bit worried about the ending at that point. And had it not been for Nolan and Debbie in episode 7, I honestly don't think I would have been excited at all for episode 8. Like I probably would have put it down and just come back to it a few weeks later.
Yeah.
But given how episode 7 goes with Nolan, Debbie, and Cecil like fighting to get to Mark, I was like that part just made me put aside the Amber bit to deal with that, like to just process that later because it was so good.
And oh my gosh, the action scenes of episode 7, there was the like big giant monster that Nolan has to that he fights, and then Immortal comes back and
Well, I
freaking
do
tries
agree.
to rip him a new one. That's pretty
Well, I
cool.
well, I do think that that's cool and all. I think the scene I love the most is the fight between well, fight. The fight between Cecil and Nolan
Hmm.
because it feels very personal, almost like two friends fighting over what they think what should well, not what they think is right almost. Like Cecil's fighting his friend and he's using dark and twisted ways of doing it. Like he's using the bodies of dead soldiers being manipulated by well, a murderer to
Yep.
fight someone who's just fighting with his fist to get to his son. Well, putting it in that way completely disregards the fact that Nolan's a mass murderer. Nolan is definitely the one that's being a bit more morally high here in the fights, but he's definitely the one that's at fault, which creates the area about it because Cecil's not a good guy either. It's two bad guys fighting for what they think is right.
Hmm.
And so I think it makes it far more interesting. And then that part where they both face each other down, Cecil and Nolan, I think that that part is very well done because it doesn't pull out any card where they just talk the entire time. Nolan is there to kill. Nolan is there to rip Cecil's head off.
Yep.
And it makes it very apparent. And the only way that Cecil can do it is by fleeing, by using teleportation the entire time. But he doesn't run away, he talks to Nolan. And I know that he's doing it mostly as a distraction, but he pries him for information really hard. And it brings up all the questions in the audience's head. It's like, why are you doing this? Don't we deserve an answer as your friends? Doesn't your wife deserve an answer?
Oh my
And
gosh.
it's so well done.
And when
And then to
oh
and
man,
then the following scene, I know exactly what you're thinking. She's
she's
more
more
like
like a
a
pet.
pet to me.
That
That
completely tore my heart out. I was like, no way they just said that. Oh my gosh.
and
That
then
is like, oh,
dude, it's so well done. And I pointed this out after we were watching the show. I think the most powerful line in that entire the second most powerful, the ending words that Mark says to Omni Man are the most powerful. But I think the gut wrenching scream of Mark's saying liar to his dad, not you're wrong, you're the worst,
just
you're
liar.
horrible. He shouts when his dad says, while I do love your mother, it's more like a pet. He does not, he can't comprehend it. He says liar. He begins throwing punches in sheer rage. And as we see throughout the show, he only goes into the rage when he feels that someone close to him is being threatened.
Mm-hmm.
He screams liar and begins wailing on Omni Man, just with guttural shouts of anger. And it's, you sit there and you think, he's not upset that at his father. He's upset that his father is trying to disown his mother.
Which is pretty like,
It's pretty dark, but at the same time, it's so well done that it's like, wow, just good job, good job.
I really think they did so well on that, and just kind of like, yeah, as you said, like the gut-wrenching scream. That's when, like, here's the thing. There are plenty of movies I like tear up in, like Spider-Man No Way Home when one particular character died. I was like, oh shoot, that's sad. For me, I
What was it,
liked Endgame,
MJ
so
or
when
I didn't see it.
no, it was Aunt May.
Oh,
Like, okay,
that's sad.
can I just tell you this? Like, so there's one part where like Pete, so the whole point of No Way Home is basically like, Spider-Man accidentally just wants, his name to be cleared. He goes to Doctor
Yeah,
Strange,
because
says, "Hey, erase everyone's mind that Peter Parker is Spider-Man," which he could have just said, you know, make Mysterio be forgotten, but it's sort of the plot contrivance where you're like, okay, I guess let's just go along with this and see what happens. But like the second half of the movie is absolutely like amazing. Like there's no way anyone could say
look, I
the second
refused
half.
to watch it because it was entirely fan service, and I hate fan service.
Oh, really?
Dude, I hated Endgame solely for the fact that it was almost entirely fan service. But yeah, no, I didn't watch it because well, I do love Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. I can tolerate. I I'm not gonna go and watch a show because they brought back people I care about, that I well, not care but enjoyed watching.
And I mean, I can totally understand that, and like, sure, it brings in all the old villains. I do, on the other hand,
You would not believe how hard it was for me to stick to that with Doc Ock being back.
yeah, I mean, like, they don't really do very well with I mean, like, in my opinion, he doesn't look like he did back in 2005. He really
No,
doesn't. Like,
definitely not.
if anyone tells me he looks exactly like he did in 2002, you need to go get your eyes checked. He does not look like Alfred Molina from 2005. He
He
is
he looks
fatter, he is older, and his CGI is not the best.
oh
Just
yeah.
But Norman Osborn's is completely like, oh my gosh.
Norm Norman well that's because it's I don't know his actors, but I love his actor.
Willem Dafoe.
Yeah, Willem Dafoe. It's because it's Willem Dafoe. Dude, I joked for like years about Willem Dafoe to you. Like whenever just going around, I joke about Willem Dafoe. I love Willem
Godspeed,
Dafoe.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, Godspeed, Spider Man. Dude, I loved his performance.
But oh my goodness, so if there's any reason why you should watch No Way Home, there's one particular scene, and that's the it's the realization of Norman Osborn being the Green Goblin, meaning like that Norman does not care whether he's the Green Goblin or Norman. He basically destroys the mask when he first enters the universe. And then when Peter's trying to cure all, which I thought was an interesting point, because like you see Spider-Man like 1, 2, and 3, and then you see the Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2. They in a way try to cure their villains, but Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, like, Sandman disappears. Green Goblin gets impaled. Doc Ock literally just drowns to the bottom of the river, which, number one, Spider-Man 2 is probably like the best Spider-Man movie of all time. There's no doubt in that. I love that movie and I'll defend it. But the greatest part of Spider-Man No Way Home is when they're all sitting there. Peter Parker helps Doc Ock, and Doc Ock, like, is kind to Peter, and he's like, "Oh my goodness, thank you for helping me." But the coolest part is when, like, Doc Ock's having this, redemption moment, and he's like, "Oh my goodness, I'm finally free from the voices in my head." You see Peter, like, literally have his spider sense tingle, and he doesn't know what's going on. And he's like, "What am I feeling?" And he looks to his left, and he sees Norman Osborn. Just Norman Osborn, the guy that came into him and was like, "I need help because I'm not in this universe. My son doesn't exist here. Oscorp doesn't exist. Like, I'm basically completely like useless and I need help." And so that moment when you see his spider sense go off, and then he just webs up Norman's hand really quick to a wall, and Norman comes and he turns his head, and he's basically like, "Ah, that's some neat trick of yours." It literally, like, Willem Dafoe's performance, you're like, "Oh no, he's gonna kill someone." It's kind of like that realization between Nolan and Cecil, where it's like he's out for blood. He is
Yeah.
out for blood, and you just realize, you're like, "Oh no, who is he going to kill right now?" And so they literally have this brutal attack where Peter and Goblin are essentially bashing through multiple stories. Because Spider-Man has like his invincibility power. Like
Well,
he
not
or
invincibility,
not
but like
invincibility, but like
he could get hit by a train and stop it.
yeah, exactly. But like he has what's the word?
Super strength.
Yeah, basically he has super strength. He can dodge some really hard punches, but the thing is, Goblin has that too. So while Peter is being bashed against walls, that's not what's hurting him. It's Norman Osborn who's hurting him. And so they like go through multiple stories, and like there was the cure for the Green Goblin that he was starting to make with Norman, and then Aunt May comes down, and like the thing is, you realize it the what is it called? The cure was not completely done. Aunt May grabbed it too fast because she just wanted to save Peter from being killed. And so you realize like she's like trying to be a mother, she's trying to help, but she ends up screwing up. Because it wasn't complete, she stabs Norman with the cure, and Norman's literally like he's like, "Oh yeah, I made sure that that wasn't complete before like we had this whole fight because I'm a mastermind. I'm not just going to let someone, completely get rid of, who I really am." So, oh my gosh. And then Aunt May is literally just like standing right in front of them, and Norman's grabbing Peter's head. So like Peter's like laying, flat to the ground, and Norman's like pulling up his head to look at his aunt, and he's like, "Peter, no good deed goes unpunished." Then the glider comes in and hits Aunt May.
Oh,
And essentially,
oh,
because that's the coolest part, because you remember from Spider-Man 1, Peter
yeah,
Parker like
yeah,
jumped out of the way for the glider, but now Aunt Peter's like telling Aunt May, leave right now, and she's like,
yeah.
no, I'm
No,
helping you, Peter, and then
the
she gets
glider,
hit by it.
dude. The glider. That is one of the scenes that I remember most, like the best from Spider-Man One. I remember the scene. I don't remember if it's a backflip or not, but he like jumps over the glider as
Yeah,
it's gonna stab him in the back and just
yeah,
stabs him. I was like,
yep.
oh.
Oh, Peter, don't tell Harry. I still think
Yeah,
that line's so funny.
dude. It's I again. That's all. That right there is fan service, and I try and again. Well, I do really enjoy that that was brought back due to personal taste. I still feel a bit of a sour taste in my mouth that they went back to that.
Yeah, and I could understand that. Though, can I just tell you one more scene that was actually really cool?
Go for it.
So after that whole event, Norman Osborn disappears. All the villains disappear. Doc Ock is a good guy, but he kind of disappears for a little bit because he got beaten the crap out of by Electro. So all of them basically go get Stark Enterprise
Electro's
stuff.
back.
Yeah, and actually he's actually really good. Like Jamie
I
Foxx, he
don't get me
finally,
wrong. I don't. It's not that I don't like Jamie Foxx. I hated Electro.
and I mean, to be honest, like I couldn't say that I hated Electro just because like this movie really brought it back, and it actually showed you like, okay, you know, they actually listened to Jamie Foxx and what he wanted to do with the character. Because here's the thing, Jamie Foxx is not a stupid actor. He reads the
Oh,
script beforehand, but they changed everything about the Amazing Spider-Man 2. They have like half an hour to an hour of like stuff that he originally did that was actually pretty good, but then they just made him blue when they turned him into the Sony wheel of production of
yeah,
crap.
dude.
Uh,
Pardon me. No, I said I don't, it's not that I hate Jamie Foxx. It's I hated the Amazing
Electro.
Spider-Man 2. I didn't like the Amazing Spider-Man 1, but I did not like the Amazing Spider-Man 2.
And that I could totally understand. But I mean, to be honest, it was a much, it wasn't just much better, it was a vastly superior performance where you could say I actually enjoyed watching Electro in this movie. Now, his character depth, let's be honest, it kind of stays the same because they're not trying to change anything. Because, yeah, because they're from the different universes, then it's kind of stupid to be like, oh, let's change the Lizard's origin story, but still have Andrew Garfield come in. Because everyone would be like, well, that kind of doesn't make sense. And if you're going to keep anything the same, it needs to be the villains. But, I mean, oh yeah, the scene I was going to tell you about. So there's a scene where I think it's really cool. So essentially, like, all the main heroes defeat everyone except the Green Goblin, and like Tobey Maguire sees Doc Ock. And like mind you, Tobey Maguire's like 50, 60 years old right now. So he's old.
Yeah.
And Alfred Molina
Yeah.
is supposed to be like the younger Doc Ock, and he's like, "Oh, Peter, my boy, you've grown up." And he's like, "Oh, it's good to see you, Otto." and then they have this touching moment, but then you hear in the background, can the Spider-Man come out to play? And it's Norman, and he comes and like completely does this whole thing. I mean, just even watch those two scenes. Like, watch any scene with Willem Dafoe, and it's like the best. But there's one scene where, um, essentially Peter's trying to save MJ. MJ's falling off a building. Norman basically grabs Peter away from MJ. Of course, then
Pause.
yeah,
Let me take a guess. This movie's all about fan service, from what I've been able to tell.
yep,
My money is on Andrew Garfield being the one that saves her.
yep, you're exactly right because he didn't save.
Wow, how did I know? It's almost like fan service is predictable and puts a sour taste in my mouth.
It is predictable, but it was
I
satisfying.
hate fan service so much. I get that it's satisfying, but if you really wanted to satisfy me, it would have been a true replica, and her back would have broke.
Oh my gosh!
No.
This is
But no,
fan service.
This is how you do fan service.
Oh my
but
gosh!
no, look. I get that it's fun and all, but I really don't like when they pull stuff like that. It's really cheap in my opinion, and I get that it can be good if done right.
Yeah,
But from what it sounds like Avengers Endgame again to me. Like it's all fan service. I want something good. Like if you want to talk good, let's talk about like the Spider-Man game that came out for the PlayStation.
oh,
I-
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know you played a bit of it recently. I'm sure you loved it. It's
Oh, it's
um
fun. It's just
it's
flat out fun, and the storyline
it's-
could be a Spider-Man movie.
yeah, exactly. That's my point. It's a Spider-Man game. It's not fan service, and that's why I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
I have it in my room. I've been playing it again recently. Just the relationship between Doc Ock and Spider-Man. It's not just it's the first movie again. It's something different, and it's them doing something different. Is mostly what I care about it. It's not. I'm not watching the same thing again and then being expected to clap my hands together and say, "Wow, that's a reference to something." No, I don't want to pay to see the same movie again. I want something new.
That's true. I do agree with you.
It's also one of the reasons I hated the newer Star Wars. But
Oh my
let's
gosh.
let's not talk about how Episode 8 is the best movie ever.
We had that discussion yesterday. Which one was worse, Jurassic World Dominion or Rise of Skywalker? I'm sorry.
Rise of Skywalker.
Really? Oh, Jurassic World Dominion, I fell asleep during because it is literally the most boring, contrived piece of garbage in the world. At
Look,
least
I
with
can
Rise of Skywalker, it had an interesting beginning. There is nothing interesting about
Look,
Jurassic World
I
Dominion.
will give Rise of Skywalker credit for being an interesting concept. Now, an interesting concept does not make a good movie.
Exactly.
When my reaction is anger at the amount of unshot Chekhov's guns and you saying that nothing matters, a movie that makes me angry is worse than a movie that puts me to sleep, in my opinion.
Oh, really? Oh, well, that's true because The Last Jedi.
Well, not angry, but just upset. Like I did not enjoy it. Like I if somebody were to ask me to watch again, I don't want to watch it because I don't find it entertaining and I don't find it enjoyable to watch. I would rather do something else. I'd rather go be productive. And the point of entertainment is that I shouldn't want to go and be productive instead of enjoying the entertainment.
It's a break from production.
If your movie is so bad that I would rather go back to work and keep working than watch your movie, it's a bad movie, in my opinion. To me, at
Yep.
least. Like, I don't want to go to the movie and have to force myself to watch it. Like, if I were to go and I were to buy a $60 game and it was a chore to play through, like if it were an Ubisoft game,
Oh my
a modern
gosh.
Ubisoft game, sorry Assassin's Creed 4, you'll always have a place in my heart. If it were like any of that, I would not play it. I would stop playing it and I'd leave it at that. I'd go do something else. I'd go and I'd go outside, touch some grass.
Touch some weed. Touch some grass.
Oh man, I could. Yeah, exactly. But like the movie, oh my gosh, it was. we watched that in theaters together, right? Like you were there in the theater with me when I watched it, right?
What, Rise of Skywalker?
Yeah, you were because you were there with me
No,
because
I was on my mission.
you were on your mission. No,
We watched it
really?
on May the 4th together. Yeah, in my parents' basement. We watched it on May the
Yeah.
4th in our movie room. That was when
Okay.
that's when I watched
I
it.
can't remember
and
if it was this one or episode 7 where at the end of the movie I said it was an okay movie, but it was a terrible Star Wars movie.
Yep.
It was either this or Star Wars 7 because I did not like either of those movies. I was hopeful for Star Wars 7, but I did not enjoy Star Wars 7.
You were just like, oh, maybe the next movie will be better.
Yeah, I thought that they were setting up stuff, but it turns out they weren't setting anything up. They thought that was the movie. Like I was like, they're setting up a great movie because it clearly was setting up a lot of stuff. Like I was not happy with how the movie was itself. Like I didn't enjoy it a ton, but I thought that it was a good step in the right direction and could be a good setup. Sort of like how Doom 2016 was, I thought, a really good game, but it was a step in the right direction, and Doom Eternal just sort of took a leap and became a great game. I know that doesn't mean a lot to you, but that's kind of how I would describe it, because you haven't played either of those games, and you need to sit down with me and just play through those games. At least Doom Eternal. Doom Eternal's, gosh, I love it.
Come after me, Bruce. Come on. Oh, but
Speaking of which, we need to meet in person. It's been way too long.
I know. I'm sorry. I really wanted to see you when I came to Georgia, but then all of a sudden my work was like, no, we're gonna have a company event that we want everyone to attend, and I was like, batch.
Okay,
We're
well,
already doing that. And it was a
I'll give you some
baseball game.
I'll give you some comfort at least. The African place I was gonna take you to, they changed their foods. Like it's not that they're not good. It's not that that they're not as good. Like the thing I got is called Sega Watt, and I love it. But it used to be super spicy. Like I loved it really hot. Like it would make me sweat.
Oh,
And
man.
I loved it. Like it was really good. Like it wasn't that it was like painful hot. It was just like you sweat hot, and
Yeah.
it tastes really good. Like the spice added a ton of flavor.
Oh,
But
that's
when
good.
I went with Max last, and all of the spice was gone. Like he ended up getting it was a different kind of watt. It wasn't Sega Watt. It was something else. It was I think a tomato base. But was it tomato base? I don't remember. But he got it, and I tried some of his, and it was really like plain. Like it wasn't spicy at
Underwhelming.
all. Like really bad. And well, not really bad, but like it wasn't nearly as good. Like it was I was really sad by it, and then I just started eating mine, and mine had like next to no spice. Like he tried some of mine, he's like, yeah, this isn't spicy at all. I thought you said this place was spicy. I was like, yeah, it was. Well, now I'm sad, and it doesn't taste good. Like at the previous one, I would take like a full bowl of rice and I'd heat it with the rice and scoop it up with the bread they had, and it would still be really spicy even when covered with rice and bread.
Mhm.
But this time, like I got the rice anyway, and I ate it with the rice. But like, I was trying to eat it without the rice just because I wanted it to be spicier, and I was rather sad by that.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I was really sad. The pots that they serve them in are still really fun and all, but I don't know. I'm really, really sad it happened. Like I'm not gonna be going there
Oh,
again. A little bit.
no. Oh,
Well,
I was
when
really
you
looking
come-
forward to it.
When you come, we'll go there. But just it's still pretty good. But at the same time, I'm gonna make the argument. I kind of would prefer the Indian place that I showed you, the place where I ordered spicy when I should have ordered mild.
Oh my gosh, that was so freaking funny. We all, like you and me both, we were like, "Oh no,
I was
what did we
crying as I ate
do?"
the food.
You're like,
Dude.
"It's both beautiful and
So-
killer."
So you remember how the curry was really thick, and I loved it. Like you'd scoop it up.
Yes, yes.
They changed the curry. I'm really sad about that as well. They
Is it
changed
thinner?
it. It is super thin. Like it's almost like a soup.
No.
It's more like a soup. and I was having, and it's not nearly as good and either. Like both the good places that I'd go to aren't as good. Instead, now I'm gonna start getting tiki masala because that's what my friend got, and
Ooh,
honestly, I prefer tiki masala to the curry
tiki.
that they were serving. Have you
Uh-huh.
had tiki? Have you had tikka masala?
No, I don't believe I have. It just sounds
Oh,
really good.
actually, it is good. There's also there. I do want none of the food is spicy either. I got moderate spicy this time because I'm not crazy, but it wasn't spicy at all. Like there was no burn, and so I was like,
Aw.
well, it normally the mild had a lot of burn because it was authentic. Well, I don't know if it was authentic, but it was Indian food.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a little spicier than
Your
fish and dip.
average.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And so I was, I don't know. I'm really sad. A bunch of the places I would go to have changed,
I don't
but
like it
there are
when
a few.
places change.
Yeah, there's still some places I need to go to. Like, oh, dude. So for my birthday gift I ended up getting from my grandparents is I really wanted to go to Fogo de Chao.
Fogo de Chao.
Dude, I went and oh my gosh, I ate for like I think it was an hour and 50 minutes straight. Like I just kept eating. Like I wouldn't stop. Like at the end, I was like, I was about to throw up. Like I could feel the food still in my throat. Like it wouldn't go down into my stomach because there was absolutely no more room for my stomach to expand. Like it was stuck in my throat. Like the food would not go down. It was, oh my gosh, I loved it. It was so good. I know it's probably like the crappiest food there, but I love cheese covered meat,
Oh
and
yeah.
they had parmesan garlic pork,
Oh
and
really?
it's a really heavy meat. Like it's something that it's very heavy, so you're gonna really feel it when you eat it.
Uh-huh.
Not like not like painful, but like you'll feel full. I kept ordering it. Like I not ordering, I kept like grabbing it every time it came by, and it didn't come by very often because I don't think it was a very popular choice. So I asked one of the waiters, "Can you just bring out like a skewer of that?" And I took the whole skewer
Oh my gosh.
and I ate it. And they're like, "How are you putting this away? You've been eating for an hour already. You're still
You go
going."
now.
Yeah, pretty much.
You've
And
been
I
eating
ended up
for
getting like
hours.
the waiter ended up taking a picture with me because I was eating so much. Like they're like, "Hey, let's take a picture. I don't know how you're eating this much."
Oh my gosh.
And like they took a picture with me with the skewer. And
That
I
is
was like,
actually
"Yeah."
amazing.
Dude, I really want to go again because it's so good, but it's expensive. Like again, it's not something I'm gonna be able to do probably for like another 2 years because dude, it's a $60 meal.
Oh really? Holy
Yeah,
shoot.
like $60. It's expensive. Like really, this is not something you do frequently unless you
Regularly.
got a lot of money. Like this was my birthday present
Yep, that's true.
because I really wanted to try it. But like the reason I thought of that is because I was thinking of the Brazilian not the Brazilian, the Korean barbecue because there's one in Utah I went to
Oh,
when I went on that business trip. The one with your dad.
yeah.
Um, actually, was it? Yeah, I think your dad was there.
Yeah, yeah, when you
We
went up to Utah
him and I
for
went.
yeah.
Yeah. Him and I went to a Korean barbecue because I told him about him and he had never. I don't think he's ever been. He might have been to like one or two, but we went to one and it wasn't that it was super good, but they had unlimited fried rice with it. And my biggest problem with the Korean barbecue near where I live is that it's almost exclusively meat. Like we have to order like 80 dumplings for our group of 3 or 4 because that's the only other dish you have with it, with the meat. But when you have fried rice with it, you can mix it in with the meats, and so you have like multiple flavors, and it is so good.
Yeah.
Of course, I was on a diet. Well, I wasn't on a diet. Like I was losing a bunch of weight at the time, so I didn't eat a ton while I was there.
Uh-huh.
And I really wish I could go again, but I'm not about to spend $600 on a one-way flight to there for fried rice. If you get what I'm saying.
Oh yeah.
Oh, actually, that reminds me. Did I ever take you to that teriyaki place near my house?
I
Or I guess near my parents' house.
don't think so. I'm not sure.
Dude, it is. So it's this place. It's called Extreme Teriyaki.
Ooh.
It's not like anything super special, but it's really good for what it is. Like you go there and like it's not gonna beat Fogo de Chao is what I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah.
But you go there and it's really good and it's relatively cheap. Like you get like this um you know the boxes at Pandas, like at Panda Express?
Oh,
Like
yes.
I haven't been there and I typically don't go there very frequently anymore since this place opened. But like it just
Yeah.
Pandas is nowhere near as good as this place. Um they give a box. I think it's like bigger than Pandas. Like the quantities are bigger than Panda Expresses
Uh-huh.
and they're cheaper than Panda Express and they taste better than Panda Express. So I'm
Ooh.
sitting there, I'm like, oh, I feel like Asian food today. I'm gonna go to Extreme Teriyaki, and it's like right next to my house, or my parents' house, I guess, because I'm moving out. But
Yes, sir.
yes, sir. But it's always right there, and they have sushi rolls as well. And dude, oh my gosh, I've been whenever Max and I hang out over at my place, we try to go there because it's like you can get a box with rice, veggies, and meat for like depending on the meat, you can get for like $8 if you get chicken, or like 9 or 10 if you get steak. And I'm talking like a lot of rice and veggies, and you can replace the veggies like noodles or stuff. So you get like you get rice, a side dish, and meat for $10, dude.
Ooh.
It's and I'm talking after tax, by the way.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking the menu price for chicken says like $6.99 or something, or $7.99, and then like the steak is like 8 or 9. So like after tax is like 10. So it's like, oh my gosh, it's dirt cheap, but it's so good too. Of course, I always get like yum yum sauce. I know that you love like yum yum sauce.
Oh my gosh. Okay, that one time that was a complete and freak accident that
Dude, that
sauce just poured out. I was like,
dude,
"No, no, stop."
you poured half the bottle. We bought a Walmart sized bottle of yum yum sauce, and you took this like small one serving bowl of rice and drowned it
Pretty
in
much.
yum yum sauce. And you ate the whole thing
Yep.
without putting more rice in it.
That's
I
how I
get
like
the
my yum
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 yum.
sauce.
Oh my gosh, man. I know it's good and all, but oh my gosh, I still can't believe you did that. Look, I get the rice I made that time wasn't that good. It was chunky, but come on, man.
No, the rice? Are you kidding me? Stop with that. Come on, your
No,
rice
no.
is amazing.
Look,
Oh my
I
gosh.
no. The way I'd say it is I have gotten a lot better at cooking because I've been cooking a lot more. Um, and so I was hoping to show you that I gotten a lot better, but at best I matched what I've made in the past. And so I was really upset by that. Like I was like, "Come on, man! I was hoping to show off a little bit. Like
Oh my
I can make some
gosh.
stir fry. Dude, I think the stir fry we made was better.
Oh, stir fry was good. Are you?
Yeah,
We
this.
actually have taken that to heart. We literally just bought ramen noodles and we bought yum yum sauce and the
Yeah,
Asian zing sauce, and we
I'm
literally just
telling you,
like will make stir fry. It's great.
dude. I'm telling you, I'm making what I'm calling the leftover meals because again, I'm in college. I don't have money.
Yeah.
So I'm making what I'm calling the leftover meals. So you take essentially whatever you can find in your fridge, and you can make like different. You can make different kinds of fried rice, stir fries, soups, stuff like that. Like dude, I've made what I'm calling the scrap meat,
The
Philly cheesesteak.
scrap meat.
That's what I call it. You just take whatever meat, well, whatever beef-based meat you got in the fridge, chop it thinly, and then throw it on the stove, and you make a Philly cheesesteak with it. And you have to do it in a few different ways, and you have to make sure you use the right cheese if you're using scrap meat.
Uh-huh.
But besides that, like as long as you're using good bread and good cheese, the meat doesn't really matter too much. Like don't get me wrong, using steak versus using ground beef is gonna make a difference. It's gonna taste different, but the cheese and the bread, as well as the chopped buttered onions,
Uh-huh.
butter. You can hear my
Butter.
southern accent in that one. Um,
Your
those are
southern
what really matters there.
accent.
So, like, I've been just experimenting with that stuff. Like, lately, I've been experimenting more with soups. Like, I've been making leftover soup, which means I'm not just dumping in just like like mashed potatoes into it.
Yeah.
But I was taking I was using just base spices I could find in the pantry to figure out a good flavor. And what I've been experimenting with is how to make different meats taste better. Because I was taking just chopped ham. Like I had like a bunch of I had a like a large ham steak that I was using for just meat in different recipes. And like it
Nice.
was mostly down to the bone at that point. So I cut off the pieces off the bone, and I was like just essentially taking the scraps and cutting up. I threw it into some water for a few hours so that the fat would boil off into the soup, and a lot of the flavor would transfer.
Uh-huh.
So I took some like garlic and some onion. I was just mixing up some herbs and spices. The
The
11 herbs
usual.
and spices from KFC, all that stuff. Um, but I was just doing that, and I was throwing in just random stuff, and I've been finding out that certain spices work better with certain meats in soups, which I found was I thought it was really surprising to me. I didn't think that it would matter. Usually, I just throw like salt and like just whatever I find in the pantry onto meat, but I'm finding that certain spices taste better because I made the same soup again yesterday, and I used steak instead of pork,
Ah.
and I had it very garlic based. Now, I don't know if you've eaten a garlic steak,
Nope.
but almost mostly butter and garlic on a steak does sound good. But when you put it in a soup, it tastes bad. Because garlic, cheese, and steak do not mix. I
I
will
can only
tell you.
imagine.
Dude, I ate the whole soup because I don't put food to waste. I don't got the money for that. But holy crap. I think that was the hardest thing I've had to put down since the beef jerky smoothie we made.
Oh no. Oh
Yeah,
no.
you remember that?
I could not even no, I couldn't
The
even
beef
finish
It was
that.
beef jerky, mustard, what was the fluid? I don't remember. Was it a soda? Wasn't it Sprite?
I thought so.
Oh my gosh, that was nasty. Man, okay, I've got to find all these pictures again. I'll send them to you when I find them. But when we were in Scouts, we did some crazy stuff. Like we were
Oh yes.
beef jerky smoothies, I think, are the best way of describing what we would do. Like
We were experimental.
we were sitting there, and the challenge was to just make a smoothie and drink it. And we had all the ingredients, and we are just randomly pulling them. And I, I'm trying to remember what ingredients were there. I remember there was beef jerky, and I'm the one who picked beef jerky, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
I remember mustard was one of the last ones, and when I saw mustard, I was crying because I did not want to drink it. And I know I drank. I don't remember if anyone else drank. I think you might have drank some.
Yeah, I did. Oh.
Yeah, yeah. The regret in your voice is what I will take
Oh.
as proof right there, because it was beef jerky. There was some other chunky stuff in there. Like there was a vegetable in there as well. I think it was Brussels.
Oh, that doesn't mix well with anything. I mean,
No,
Brussels sprouts
Brussels
are
are
good
horrible.
if you put like
Actually, if you take Brussels, cover them in tempura, or like the tempura, not flakes, but like the breading that you put on like shrimp, and then
uh-huh.
cover them in truffle oil and salt. They're pretty good.
Oh, that's true. Hey, that
Of
that
course,
does work
truffle
out.
oil is expensive, but
That's besides the point.
I learned it. Yeah, let's not talk about that. Truffle oil is really good. I love truffle oil. Oh, you know what we should do? Okay, when you come back, you remember the one chip challenge, right?
Yeah, but my
The one
stomach can't handle spicy
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that
yeah.
anymore.
You're not. Don't worry, you're not doing that. That was for a friend. What I was thinking is we should get some friends together and we should do the smoothie challenge again.
Yes.
or whatever we called it at the time.
Yes. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Now, I'm gonna put it out there. I have 1 or 2 extra chips.
You can always throw it in the smoothie.
Exactly.
See, we're on the same wavelength.
Dude, I told you about so I worked at an Asian restaurant for a little while, and it was I think the ramen bar at the time. I don't remember. Dude, I am so out of it, like with my memory due to calculus 2. Like I've been just throwing everything out the window and not sleeping so I could study for my classes while working. So I don't even remember when it was anymore. Like my sense of time is all out of whack. But when I was there, I was talking with one of my friends. I haven't spoken with him in a while. But we were talking about the one chip challenge. I don't remember how it came up. We were talking about it, and we were talking about the pepper used. I think it's the California Reaper, or I think it was the scorpion pepper or whatever it is. I don't remember.
Uh-huh.
But it's so spicy, like that when they make salsa, they actually use it, and they take one of the peppers and they make several gallons of their salsa with one of the peppers. And it's so hot that it still will make them like it still burns their mouths and makes them like get close to crying when they eat it. Like those peppers are no joke.
Well,
Like
you remember brutality sauce, right? The stuff my dad had?
Yeah, I remember.
Because I ruined one of the sauces with it. We were making a really good sauce, and I put a drop of it in it and completely overwhelmed it. Like one drop
Yeah,
completely overwhelmed it.
Yeah. Dude, those
What time is
sauces
it?
and peppers are no joke.
Oh shoot. I'll probably have to
we-
leave at 9. So I got like
Gotcha.
12 minutes, but I mean,
I
yeah,
gotcha.
next time we come we'll have to do that smoothie challenge.
Well, I'll see which friends I can get. I can probably convince a few of my friends. I don't know. That's gonna be a hard sell for them. Tell them to drink a beef jerky and Reaper chip smoothie.
Pretty much.
Just
I mean, that ain't
use
no
some
joke.
monsters to chaser or something. I don't know. Dude, I'm telling you, if I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna have to buy some expensive vodka or something to get them to do it.
Oh my gosh.
Just hey guys, I'm getting you drunk. You're all gonna be eating the spiciest chip that we can find.
Oh man.
Oh,
Okay, just before we end, um, episode 8 of Invincible, just to finish it up
oh,
for the stream.
yeah.
We'll have your take
Hold
on it, and then I can give my take. But I want to hear your take
Your
because I
mom.
think you
Um,
what no. Because I think you give the oh my gosh, there's just an arrow in my head.
Yeah, I was making a unicorn. Anyway, yeah, I get what you're saying.
Because you bring I think you bring the best to light in what exactly happens there and why it's so important. So that's why I want to hear you first before I say anything stupid.
So my take on Invincible episode 8 is that give me a second. I can't take you seriously, that many porcupine pieces in your head. I don't know. I really, really, really enjoyed it. There are parts that probably could have been improved. Like I don't think it needed the sappy and like after part after the whole fight happened.
Uh-huh.
However, I don't think a lot of people could have done it better. Like I couldn't have done it better because I'm not in any way literate when it comes to movies, besides, my own preferences.
Yeah.
I'm more of a mathematician than that. And I'm not even and I'm not a mathematician, so I think that says a lot about my knowledge of movies. But I'm sorry, I'm still shooting arrows in your head. Can you see those?
Yeah, I could see all of them.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I don't know. I think it was done really well.
Yeah.
I haven't seen anything better since then, or well, besides
The Boys.
actually, you know what? I don't think I've seen. I was gonna say I've seen a lot of good stuff in The Boys, but I don't know if I'd say The Boys was better than Invincible. So it was really good, and I really enjoyed it. There's not much else I can say besides that because it's such a unique show, and I'm happy that there's something new that's coming out.
And something that's not
Something for me to watch.
She-Hulk or Marvel.
Yeah, something that I can watch while I wait for One Punch Man season 3.
I will say I love episode 8 because I mean like that's kind of where you finally get to understand why he did it, like
It's the
his
big
whole,
reveal.
yeah, the big reveal that like his race is basically a,
Mass murderers.
yeah, and they basically want to influence their dominion over all life essentially, and so Earth just happened to be the one that Nolan was staying at, and everyone's
Did you
caught in the
just say
middle of it.
Dominion? I hate to interrupt, but do you mean Jurassic World Dominion?
No,
Oh, sorry.
no,
Continue.
no. I hate. Oh my gosh, we just went on this. But anyways, um, so I think one of the greatest parts, and I think you pointed it out, was they're fighting. You know, he's telling him, oh, humankind, mankind, like look how flimsy they are. Like they're weak. You're a Viltrum, like Viltrumite. You need to be coming with me. Like this is your destiny. Blah blah
What will
blah.
you have after 500
100
years?
years. And he
Everyone
says,
you know and love will be gone, are the words he used, if I remember correctly.
yep. And what did he say?
You, Dad. It'd have you. You picking up my arrows?
Oh my gosh!
Stop picking up my arrows!
I've taken all the
Porcupine.
arrows.
Yeah, the most emotional moment in the show, ruined by some man, some porcupine plucking his own quills.
No, don't disappear. But like, dude, I remember watching that, and I went, that was actually like probably one of the most emotional things ever in a superhero movie. Period. Like that was.
Well, I think it was the
Oh,
perfect thing he could have said. It wasn't defiant. It matched the whole purpose of the fight. It was resolving the misunderstanding in their argument of
yep.
why he refuses to yield. He cares for these people and he cares for his father just as much. And
Which
it
is
resolved the issue, and Nolan realized he was in the wrong on the argument, so there wasn't much he could say or do. They both wanted similar things. Well,
yep.
similar, I say. Nolan had two things he wanted, but one of those was not in any way similar. World domination and mass murder.
Yep.
So
That's true.
just a little different than caring about your child.
A little bit
Just
different.
a little bit.
Not too different. It's what every
Yeah,
father wants for their child.
Yeah, mass murder, turn them into a psychopath. Yeah,
Pretty much.
I'll make sure to quote that when you have kids. Just your dad always told me that he wanted
Oh
that
my
every father's
gosh.
duty is to make sure that their child knows their love for mass murder.
Oh my god.
Perfect quote right there. I'll make sure to quote
Perfection.
that every day.
Acting.
Acting.
My gosh, that Patrick Stewart quote comes in my head every single time a dumb Marvel movie comes up or a dumb Marvel TV show. Just
Hey,
acting.
stand still real quick.
Oh yeah. But I mean like that was just that was the pinnacle of it. I mean that was the end. He Nolan runs off to, well, as far as I know, I have no idea where the frick he's going. Probably back to,
I know.
you know, because you have it spoiled. Don't spoil it for me.
I won't.
But I don't know where he's going. I'm interested to see if there is a rematch, what it's going to look like, especially if what's his name? If Mark, you know, well, I mean, come on, it's probably
Well,
going to be years till he comes back, so he'll have time to train and stuff. But I mean, without his
I will.
father, it's impossible to do like
I'm gonna.
everything.
I'm gonna let you know right now. I'm gonna spoil one thing. It's not a major spoiler.
Okay.
It's more so just what to expect. So yeah, my favorite character will be coming back,
Oh snap!
and he plays a larger role. from what I remember.
You talking about
And
Nolan?
that man, say again?
Are you talking about Nolan?
Okay, my favorite side character. That's not fair. You can't. Nolan doesn't count. Mass Murder, Dad. It will forever be one of my favorite characters in anything.
Mass murder hobo.
Mass Murder Hobo. Yeah. No. Of course I'm talking about Alan the Alien.
Oh yeah, yeah. I love
Orange
Alan.
man. Dude.
Oh my gosh.
Are you taking your time out? I get a time out. Yeah, you get a time out.
Oh
Is
my
this not Is this Urath? No, this is Earth.
I remember looking at that
Earth.
and I was like, I love that there are planets that are very close to our name, but then they just mess them up.
Dude, I thought that was like, I know it's like a simple, like, not complex joke. It's not something that should be super funny, but I loved that so much because it was such a tonal shift from the entire show to that that it just caught me so off guard. Like, the show was so, like, it went from child's TV show to like gruesome, and I mean gory
Gruesome.
murder mystery to that. And I was like, holy tonal shifting, Batman.
Holy campiness, Batman.
Holy camping. I don't know. I was gonna say. Ugh.
But yeah,
But yeah, no.
that was. I love Alan. I can't wait till he comes back.
Yeah, Alan the Alien will forever be the second best character in that show.
Have you ever? Hi, we're missionaries, and we're here to talk about our Lord and Savior, Alan the Alien.
Yeah.
He's gonna save the show.
And I love Alan. I love Alan.
But
Well,
cool.
do you have a moment to speak about our Lord and Savior, Alan the Alien?
Oh, if that could be. Well,
What do you mean?
cool.
Could it be? You better believe I go to my neighbor's house, knocking on their doors every day, saying, "Hey, you have a moment here about Alan the Alien? I know you're in there. I can see you through the window.
You're
You
like
can't hide behind that curtain.
You're like the
I got
missionaries
X-ray vision now.
and the
Alan the Alien."
Jehovah's Witnesses. You set out pamphlets. If you do not believe, you are deceived.
Just a picture of Alan the Alien, just photoshopped into like into his undies or
Oh
something.
my gosh.
Like Victoria's Secret
Oh my
magazine, just
gosh.
Alan the Alien's head photoshopped on.
I may or may not have photoshopped his undies off.
May or may not have photoshopped his wiener on.
It's bad.
It's just
John
dumb.
Tron, gosh dang.
Just
Well, cool.
dang, you're gonna make me put a poster of this in my room too. I need to show you the posters I have set up for my room.
Dude, please
Everything's
do.
taken down because I'm planning to move out relatively soon. But I have like the dumbest posters in my room. Like, I know you never watched a lot of SpongeBob, but do you know what Bold and Brash is?
Is mayonnaise an instrument? No, I don't know what.
Bold and Brash, more like belongs in the trash. No, it's a
Oh
it's a
gosh.
it's an art. It's a drawing Squidward does, and it's like it's so dumb, and I have it up in my room. I need to frame it, but I have a poster of it in my room.
Oh man.
Dude, I'm gonna with the monitor. I'm just gonna send you like a printout of Bold and Brash and like put like the size of the monitor and just like tape it on it or something.
Oh my gosh.
You're gonna open it up and just like Bold and Brash is there. You're like, what on earth is this?
Oh man.
All right, I'll let you go. I don't want to.
Oh, no problem. Yeah, I have to do chores because I'm a big boy now, and I take care of my apartment. And actually, I will tell you one thing: we're probably gonna get a house after McKenna is done with her program. She'll be making 66,000, which means she'll be making almost $5,000 a month. So, to be honest, like me just sitting there and thinking, I'm like, dang, we literally, like, I kid you not, we literally could be like paying a mortgage at $2,000, which is the average for Arizona right now.
What
And
is happening with the raft? I hate to interrupt you. Continue going, but we're
no, you're good.
teleporting.
Oh yeah, we are. Because literally, I don't actually. Did you notice we have not had anything in the collectors for like the past 15, 20 minutes?
Yeah, yeah, we kind of have been cooking, talk, and all that.
That's true.
But yeah, no, that's actually great. I'm good for you.
Yeah. So,
It means you can finally fulfill your dreams of being a stay-at-home dad.
truth be told, like literally, she could go to work, and I can literally just like stay home and work. And whenever the kid
I'm just
cries, I can feed him while I work.
I'm gonna buy you a maid outfit.
Oh my
You're gonna
gosh.
sexy maid outfit. She's gonna come
Oh
home and you're
no.
only wearing an apron.
Every Halloween, I'll be like, you know who gave me that? This
Yeah,
guy.
this guy, dude. Dude, I don't get why people. Okay, I know you're gonna go, but I'm gonna do a quick little side go. In my physics class, we for some reason the professor went student by student. We all like announced our names. We had to do like circle time sharing, the whole 9 yards. Which
Gosh.
it's like the first time I've done that in college, and like it's like why, but I guess if he's having us do that, I guess I might as well. We all also had to say what career we hope to have after we finished our degree.
Uh-huh.
The number one most answered career was stay-at-home dad.
Oh my gosh.
This is a class
No
full of
way.
engineering students and people that are planning to become physicists and stuff like that, taking physics and calculus at the same time. And everyone answered stay-at-home dad. You'll never guess what I answered.
Stay-at-home dad.
Stay-at-home dad. Dude, I will gladly wear a maid outfit, wear an apron, cook the meals, powder the baby's butt. If I don't have to go to work, you better believe I'll do that all the time. Just call me a welfare. Put me on welfare. I'll do the same thing there. Oh, Miss Government, how was your day at work?
Oh my gosh. Oh man. Dude, yeah. I know McKenna's gonna be a stay-at-home mom because she's like, nah, I'm not gonna be one of those people that like makes you stay home with
Lucky.
the baby. I'm like, dang it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you're probably just sitting there in your head. Dang it! How do I switch your opinion? I don't go for it. You follow your dreams.
Don't let your
Be
dreams be
progressive.
dreams. Do what
Be
you were made to
progressive.
do.
Don't let those misogynists stop you from your dreams.
Oh my gosh.
You go work.
You go, girl.
I don't care why they don't want women in the workplace. I support that wholeheartedly.
I don't need to be the guy doing all the work.
You can be
do
the
a
breadwinner
baby.
any day of the week in my book.
Mario the man versus the idea.
The-
Go do a baby. Why are we saying this?
Oh my gosh.
Oh no, it was keep it up, baby. Stop.
Yeah, baby. Dude, we need to watch Austin Powers when you come over.
Yes,
That
I
too.
need to watch that movie.
Oh
Oh,
man.
well, cool.
Okay.
I'm
You
gonna.
go do your chores. I gotta go clean up as well. I ordered a bunch of Amazon packages full of wire and stuff because I was gonna go and.
Ooh, Amazon.
I mean, I can't make my pipe bombs with nothing. I'm kidding. Government, that's a joke. Please don't raid my house.
Please,
I only
Twitch,
have a bunch
don't
of
send the
electrical
government.
wires for legal reasons.
Oh, well, cool. I'll talk to you later, man.
Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.